It was right or wrong is another matter. Yes, with the land reform law, the four of us, that is my mother and the three children, we lost over 2,000 acres, about 2,500 acres of land. Of that, I would say about 1,500 of very good cultivated land, rubber and coconut. That is my father's land, and about another 1,000 or so of Nidnagam land, Rajakarya lands, which belonged to my mother, which came down from her family in the Balangud area. And thereby we got pauperized.
If I give up politics, really, I'll be really very poor woman. I know what I'm going to fall back on. Because I'm not a person who lives a fabulous life, so I can manage somehow. I was not one who sort of went to parties and through parties and did the grand. I lived a simple life, that's how we were trained. So therefore, I can manage with small income. But I don't think we are really benefited fully by being independent. Because we are dependent on the World Bank for aid and other countries, which we are getting in a sort of way. Now when certain countries give us aid, they are not giving a lot of love, you have to depend on them again, because they want us to get not only the aid from them, but if you start a project, you got to get the engineers and all the experts from their country. Especially take the reservoirs that we built. For instance, Britain built Victoria, Sweden built Kotmale. We have to get their men to come and do it, and give them all the facilities, comforts, houses, for them to come and work there. So really the aid we get is not so useful. Part of it goes back to the country. We have to get the equipment from there. All this turbines and all that got from those countries that did the work. So I don't know that aid is really so helpful. Without World Bank and IMF and all dictating to us, we will look to ourselves. We need help, no doubt. Especially for instance, when I want to nationalize petrol, the World Bank, especially America, threatened us with stopping aid. But that didn't frighten me. I went ahead.
Like some of the nationalizations of petroleum, insurance, schools, it needed a lot of courage, but she stuck by it and did it.
That's why I was always an agriculturist, and our policy was to be self-sufficient in agriculture. My husband was also, and also in clothes. My husband said, if you want to be independent, you have to be self-sufficient in clothes and in food.
There was no going forward economically. A lot of new policies were adopted, but there was 60 to 65, I think she did a lot of revolutionary things. But 70 to 77, new things were being done. Some were very good, some were bad, and there was, in fact, I would say it was a lack of a clear economic policy. What was there was the closed economic policy, which was not working at all anymore. When the whole world was moving towards the free market economy, and we were also poised to take off that way, and I think government refused to see that, and economically we hadn't done enough, and there was a huge number of young people coming on the job market without any possibility of getting employed on the horizon. There was a lot of frustration. And all these things, I think, worked against the young people voted for the UNP in 77.
My civic rights were taken by, it was because the Ajay wanted to keep me out of politics. I'll tell you, one day in Parliament, when we were meeting to discuss the constitution, he asked me, how do we win Attanagala? I said, ask the people of Attanagala that question, not me. They went all out to defeat me. They spent millions of rupees, and whole UNP was at Attanagala to defeat me. But I won by, Attanagala returned by 10,000. They had more faith in me than JR's candidate. So he couldn't get over that. That's why I think he planned to take my civic rights away. Not that there was anything really serious against me. And he formed that commission and decided he appointed the judges, he made the charges, and he also takes the decision to take my civic rights away. That's a funny democracy, I thought. JR didn't succeed in keep me out of politics, though he succeeded in keeping me out of contest. I have no relationship. I mean, I talked to him, but No relationship then. I had better relationship with Premadasa. Jaya was not so dangerous in a different way, but Premadasa was very dangerous.
I mean, the SLP as a party was thoroughly discredited in 1977, defeated, probably the worst defeat in the history of Sri Lankan politics. And she lost a civic rights in 1980 and various things happened to her. So, but I think the SLP was entirely kept going because of her charisma.
She tried very hard to give the leadership to Anura, quite understandably, because he was the only son and he was the only person who was ambitious for political position. Though I was ambitious for a program and I would always have worked for it, but I didn't want high positions until I was forced to contest the provincial council election, and then things just happened like flashes of lightning. I won with a thundering majority, and then things were just happening, and then I got kicked upstairs very fast, and it came to a position where she realized that she had to give it to me, and she took the decision.
Because I didn't have to campaign so much because Chandika was capable enough and I was not too well lost, as you know, I just recovered from a stroke. So Chandika didn't expect me to go out and canvass too much for her. I addressed some meetings wherever I was asked to go, but she did carry the burden mainly. It was such a mess. To get out of the mess was a problem. Appointing commissioners and to catch all their, what shall I say, their misdeeds. The ministers, the commissioners are still going on. As you know, most of the ministers are involved in bribery, corruption, and what shall I say, and mishandling of. No, now more and more things are coming out. I mean, we are going to finish these commissions, not in the next elections probably. The war has come to Colombo, isn't it? Though we say we won the war in Japan, but it has come to Colombo. So we are all living in fear, not only the Japan Tamils. So how do we get over it? That's a problem. Because he thinks that the Tamils have been badly treated. That's what the Tamil politician went about saying, Amitlingam and all. And I think the UMP promised them various things which were not implemented to give them more power. Was what they wanted. Parker is a quite different person. He's an impossible man. Is and a murderer, as you know.
I kept inviting him for discussions and he refused point blank. And now, having given the man every chance of coming into the democratic process, I am personally convinced that he is not capable of it. Psychologically, mentally, he cannot work within a peaceful system. He cannot work in a normal democratic setup.
If you now, because Prabhakaran, we can't solve this problem. He's very stubborn. If we can win over the other Tamil, the civilian Tamils, I'm not saying just give them what they want, but win them over onto our side, I think the problem can be solved. Then we'll have to force Prabhakaran to accept whatever proposal we make. I think Chandika is trying to do that by giving them food, etc. and trying to rebuild Jaffna, rebuild the houses and give them electricity which they have lost. All that might make them happy and think at least my God, this government is better than Prabhakaran's government. So that's the only way of solving this problem. My feeling is that, I may be wrong. The problem is how to satisfy them. People are very demanding. You can't satisfy them. No government can. I can't see even today it's ethnic problem. The number of people against Chandika's proposals, expressing certain views. Some who are for it, of course. But the Buddhist monks, some of them are against it. So it's not easy to overcome these problems. It's a big task. Chandika has a big task before her. I feel sorry for Chandika because she's trying her best to solve the problem. How far she's going to succeed, I don't know. Various people are putting obstacles in her way. But I wish her luck.
Well, I am very hopeful. I am very optimistic. But of course, I am an incurable dreamer. But I think we have had tremendous success. As a whole, if you don't look at only the ethnic issue, in re-establishing democracy and democratic values and humaneness, bringing back humaneness into the system, I think we have had tremendous success, simply because the people are that and they wanted it, so they just responded in the whole country. Sometimes I do get very despondent about the ethnic problem, because we have put everything, anybody could to solve it, and if we can't solve it, I don't see anybody else solving it.
But will the LTT accept it? I doubt. Unless they accept, you can't. No? They are the main Tamil part today, and they call themselves the leaders of Tamils. If they don't accept it, then there is no purpose. He will send his Bal Singh and his wife Adela. They are not even Sri Lankans. Only the gods can do it, like they did to Premadasa. Sir Solomon only built the whole house. It was built by his great grandfather. That's the downstairs. He built the upstairs and the rest of the house. The dining room, all that was built by Sir Solomon. And he, of course, he lived a grand life, no doubt, entertaining royalty, all that. And he had big banquets, that big dining room, had the big long table where he entertained people, royalty. And there was a panka there. I don't know what to know, panka is, no fans then. So the panka was used to fan the people who were sitting at meals. The boy had to pull it from outside.
Oh, I have very beautiful memories of Horogolla. We used to spend every Christmas, 1 month, the Christmas holidays there. And our playmates were always the village children. And we used to have a whale of a time. And Christmas, my father would come with he would come for the weekends. And we used to be there with my mother. With lots of fireworks and crackers and things, and he used to get the servants to light these for us. And every year we celebrated my father's birthday, which came soon after Christmas. We would have a huge lunch party for all his relations and friends at Horogolla.
I was toying with the idea of converting it into a museum for my father and my mother. I haven't decided when or how it's going to be done, but there will be tremendous interest in this one, because there are no other main family in this country that rule this country, either Jayadavaras or Premadasas or DSA or Dudley, or anybody who has a museum like this, which can be converted into a museum. So I think it's very important that we convert it into a museum, because there's nothing left for the future generations to see of their former leaders.
Main house is this, in which generations of Bandaranaikas lived. Then after that, there's house, Suneta has built a house in the old stables of the Sir Solomon, where she's staying in the old stables, where he had his horses. I built a house for Chandika. So these three houses probably dominate the area. It can be called Bandaranaike Kingdom, or whatever you like it. I hope it will continue to maintain the family traditions here, whoever lives here.
The Bandaranaikas and the Obesekaras were the epitome of westernized Sri Lankans, westernized, all Christians. All my father's relations are Christians, pillars of the Anglican Church, very gentlemanly in the British style. whereas my mother's relations are all Buddhist, Sinhala, very Sinhala oriented, though all speaking English, of course. And these were the two sort of, there was no clash of the thing, but there was a, I would say, very nice marriage of the two cultures in our home. My father representing the very Western oriented thing, but as he, as an individual, appreciated all that was Sri Lankan and Sri Lankan culture, and my mother was an epitome of that. We had a nice dosage of the two.
On the personal side, she had a fairly well developed sense of humor, and a joke was always appreciated, and she would laugh outrightly, I mean very without any inhibitions, and she always appreciated a joke.
I think she draws a line, because sometimes when I used to summon cabinet meetings on her behalf, without her knowledge, she really flips at it. Which I once did at Temple Tree. I summoned the entire cabinet. They kept walking in one after the other. What on earth are you doing here? Why, madam, you have summoned emergency cabinet meeting?
I think
She really lost the temper.
I thought, like Queen Victoria, she would have said, "We are not amused," but she chuckled to herself in private. I have a feeling she enjoyed the jokes, but she didn't want to show the son that, for fear that he might take it as a sign of encouragement.
Yes.